Welcome back, Lentilman. How has everybody been the past 2 months? Better than me? You better believe it. I really need to get into this one because it's going to be a long one because I need to make it up to everybody for not putting out any videos. So we're going to jump right into The Batman. First appearance, Detective Comics number 27, May 1939. Status hero, real name Bruce Wayne. Occupation, industrialist, philanthropist, crime fighter. Base, Gotham City. Height, 6 feet 2 inches. Weight, 210 pounds. Eyes blue, hair black. Special powers, abilities. We're skipping that because this description isn't very good. Basically, everybody knows what he does. He's a normal guy, great martial artist, great detective, has all these cool gadgets, all these cars, all these vehicles, all that shit. So, we'll skip that. Okay. Family outing to the cinema ended in tragedy for young Bruce Wayne. Walking homeward, Bruce, his father Thomas, and mother Martha accidentally ventured into Gotham City's notorious crime alley and were accosted by a mugger. Not content merely to rob the wealthy family, the hoodlum, whose identity was never determined, actually it was Joe Chill, so I don't know why he says that, shot Dr. Thomas and Martha Wayne dead before fleeing into the darkness. As he knelt beside his parents' bodies, Bruce swore to avenge them. After the police arrived, Bruce was comforted by Dr. Leslie Tompkins, also was comforted by Commissioner James Gordon, like everybody's seen in Batman Begins, but I don't know why that's not here either. Dr. Tompkins and Alfred Pennyworth helped arrange matters so that Gotham Social Services would not take Bruce into care. In this way, both Dr. Tompkins and Alfred enabled Bruce to realize his dream of becoming a crusader against crime. The young Bruce Wayne. At age 14, Bruce embarked on a journey that took him to every continent as he sought to learn all the skills he would need to keep his vow. He studied criminology, forensics, and criminal psychology, and learned from manhunters and martial artists, mastering every fighting style. In time, Bruce forged himself into a living weapon to wage war on crime and injustice. On his return to Gotham, Bruce stalked street thugs as plainclothes vigilante. Beaten by the very people he intended to protect, he barely survived his first night out. As he sat bleeding in his study at Wayne Manor, Bruce knew that he had first strike fear in the hearts of his foes. Just then, a bat crashed through the study window, giving Bruce the inspiration he needed. Batman Begins. Establishing a secret headquarters in the caves beneath his mansion, Bruce became Batman, a dark knight to protect Gotham and its citizens from vice and villainy. Alfred Pennyworth remained his confidant, tending to injuries and offering sage advice, whether requested or not. Batman became an urban legend, a cautionary tale that sent shivers through the city's underworld. This Capes Crusader found a friend in Captain James Gordon, aforementioned in the Comforting. A Gotham cop who didn't approve of the Batman's method, but appreciated the results of his nightly crime fighting. Batman's rogues gallery grew to include a host of bizarre criminals such as Joker, Catwoman, Two-Face, and Penguin. Also, the Riddler and Bane are kind of eventful villains, but for whatever reason they're not listed. He's also got quite the rogues gallery, so I can't really blame them for not listing about 50 people. Anyway, a family affair. The addition of Robin to his nightly crusade helped Batman in more ways than he would ever admit. Spoilers ahead, because we're going to be mentioning some deaths. Okay. However, when Dick Grayson embarked on his own path as Nightwing, the Batcave became a lonelier place for the Dark Knight, especially after Jason Todd's murder and the crippling of Barbara Gordon. Both suffered at the hands of the Joker. For a time, Batman operated strictly solo until the young Tim Drake convinced the Dark Knight that he needed a Robin to give him hope. Because Batman's also always better with a Robin, because then he's not all grumpy and who would have to do this on my own. Anyway. Broken Bat. Tragedy again struck when the terrorist Bane, aforementioned in the Rogues Gallery, after forcing Batman to fight many of his most powerful foes, broke Batman's back. John Paul Valley, aka Azrael, took on the Dark Knight's role while Bruce recuperated from his injuries. This interim Batman was more violent and unstable. Bruce returned to action as soon as his body had healed and he had regained his fighting spirit, with the help of the ruthless martial arts mistress Lady Shiva. Bruce took back the mantle of the Bat by force, but John Paul Valley remained a staunch ally as the hero Azrael until his death. The Long Halloween. One criminal case still haunts Batman. Early in his career, the Dark Knight failed to identify the serial killer known as Holiday and prevent a string of murders targeting the Falcone crime family. The Long Halloween ultimately resulted in DA Harvey Dent's tragic disfigurement that led Dent to become murdering gangster Two-Face. In that regard, Batman lost both a friend and an ally. Dark times. The Dark Knight helped maintain law and order in Gotham City when a contagion struck, killing tens of thousands. He was also the city's savior in the anarchic aftermath of a cataclysmic earthquake. With Gotham City declared a no man's land by the government, Batman and his allies, including a new Batgirl, fought a year-long struggle to take back the town block by block. Gotham City was eventually rebuilt, and Batman redoubled his efforts to make known to all returning criminals that a Dark Knight Defender still ruled the night. More recently, Batman faced several more personal losses. The first involved the end of his working relationship with Commissioner Gordon, who left the police force after a near-fatal shooting. Batman's clandestine ties to the GCPD would never be the same with his friend and ally retired. Bruce Wayne, murderer? Not long after, Bruce was accused of murdering journalist Vesper Fairchild, actually slain by the assassin Kane on the orders of then-President Lex Luthor. But Bruce was vindicated, but Vesper's death served as a stark reminder why close relationships run contrary to Batman's mostly solitary mission. Even though Batman wouldn't get 90% of the stuff he gets done without anybody's help, because then you'd have nobody watching his back, and you would just take a team up the villains to take him down, because he can't do everything on his own. Anyway. However, Batman still appreciates the aid of his crime-fighting partners and the value of teamwork. He has long been a member of the Justice League of America and assembled the first Outsiders team to take action against the criminals authorities could not touch. Batman today. Batman continues to watch over Gotham as its staunchest defender. Moreover, since his parents' killer has never been apprehended, that's actually a fallacy, because he does, get, caught and sometimes dies depending on the storyline, because he did get his identity determined and was found out to be Joe Chill, which, in an alternate storyline is actually the identity of the Joker. So, there's that. Bruce knows that the Dark Knight's crusade could be an endless struggle to find the one that got away. Again, didn't get away. Meanwhile, Batman fights to ensure that no one suffers the collateral damage of random crime and senseless violence. Page number 2. Hush. One of Bruce Wayne's oldest friends returned as one of Batman's greatest villains in a conflict that united Dark Knight's foes. Dr. Thomas Elliot sought revenge on his former... Oh my God. I'm not reading this because it spoils one of my favorite Batman stories, which I'll be telling you to read, so there's that. I also will be reading the next one because that also gives away spoilers for another one that I'll be telling you to read. War games. Gotham City's underworld had always existed in a state of uneasy equilibrium between crime bosses, but events soon upset the balance and triggered gang war chaos. Shortly before the shooting, Tim Drake took leave from his Robin responsibilities out of concern for his father. Batman trained Stephanie Brown, aka Spoiler, as the fourth Robin, but rejected her after determining she lacked the needed experience. Anxious to prove herself, Stephanie prematurely activated one of Batman's long-range plans. This should be, long-term, for dealing with Gotham organized crime. The operation soon spiraled out of control, with the victorious Black Mask emerging with nearly Gotham's entire underworld in his fist. Black Mask also captured and tortured Stephanie Brown, who died as Batman sat beside her hospital bed. Infinite Crisis. Ever since Zatanna had mind-wiped him years earlier, Batman had harbored suspicions of his fellow heroes. With the Wayne Enterprises fortune, he built and programmed an observational satellite, the Brother Mark I, to keep tabs on superhuman activity. But the satellite's artificial intelligence soon named itself Brother I, EYE, wink wink, funny clever pun, and initiated a program to eliminate all metahumans on Earth. As Brother Eye's nanotech virus transformed hundreds of thousands of humans into unstoppable OMAC agents, Batman led the charge to dismantle the satellite. His hand-picked team, including Blue Beetle, Mr. Terrific, Green Arrow, and the Black Canary, took down Brother Eye in orbit, bringing victory to one battlefront of the Infinite Crisis. Although presented with an opportunity to kill every enemy mastermind Alexander Luthor, Batman refused to take the easy way out. He actually came very close to doing it. It took, the thing he doesn't like, the help of others, to make sure he didn't do it. In one of the event's timeline ripples, reality shifted so that the killer of Batman's parents faced justice rather than getting away with murder. Again, bringing us back to they figured out who it was. Page number 3. The Son of Batman. While fighting an army of ninja man-bats at a London art gallery, Batman had an unexpected encounter with Talia al Ghul. A decade earlier, Batman had fathered a child with Talia. Though he believed she had miscarried, she had born a son named Damian. Raised according to the deadly teachings of the League of Assassins, Damian had grown into a petulant, spoiled killer. After arriving at Wayne Manor in the Batcave, Damian nearly killed his rival Robin and fashioned his own Robin uniform from Jason Todd's memorial costume. Batman tried to bring his renegade son in line, but the boy and his mother vanished in an explosion during a fight at the Rock of Gibraltar. That's just a storyline. Currently, that's not how Damian Wayne's story is going. But who am I to tell the book what's true and what isn't? The resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, or Raz, whatever you want to call him. Damian didn't stay underground for long. His late grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, cheated death yet again and reappeared as a shambling, decaying corpse. Ra's hoped to transfer his soul into Damian's body, and Batman allied with Talia to ensure that this fate not befall their son. In the sacred city of Nanda Parbat, Batman battled Ra's al Ghul in a duel to the death, with Damian, Robin, Nightwing, and even Alfred holding their own against the League of Assassins. Ultimately, the monks of Nanda Parbat forced both sides to flee the battlefield, leaving Ra's a malignant threat and Damian back under the care of his mother. Among Batman's recent moves is the creation of an all-new team of outsiders. So that is all we have of My Dear Batman. Hopefully anybody that doesn't know that much about him learned a little bit. Maybe you learned a lot because you don't know Batman, because you're not a nerd, and you don't care about stupid things like that. But I do, and if you do care, there's some more story for you. Also, I'm going to be doing something new with these videos. I will be giving you recommended reading on every character that is featured. So with Batman, we'll start with my favorite story in the Batman universe, which is Batman Hush. Basically what happens is Batman ends up having to fight all of his villains because of this person that finally shows up named Hush. And then we find out Hush's identity, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de, what actually happens. Good story, read it if you're into Batman. Another good story is Batman Year One, which pretty self-explanatory. It's Bruce Wayne's first year as Batman, but also the story does focus on Commissioner Gordon's first years in Gotham. So, very good read. One of the only Frank Miller pen things that Batman I actually enjoy, because I don't, as much as everybody else loves The Dark Knight Returns, I'm not that big on it, because yes, Superman can kill Batman, Batman can kill Superman, but Superman's more powerful than Batman. Yeah, that's the thing. And he always will be, even though given a week to prepare, Batman can kill anybody as, well, kill, quote-unquote, defeat anybody as we've seen before. Anyway, this isn't a spiel about Batman vs. Superman. This is just more stories for you people to read. Also, we have A Death in the Family, which is, when I mentioned earlier about Jason Todd's death, that's what A Death in the Family is, which is a good story. If you read it, you got to deal with the fact that it was penned in like '88, so therefore the colors and some of the slang words they use are kind of eh. Also, if you get the graphic novel, I believe, it comes with another good Batman story, which is A Lonely Place of Dying, which introduces Tim Drake, who eventually becomes the third Robin. Then we have Batman the Killing Joke, which is the story in which the Joker paralyzes Barbara Gordon. Not going to give much more of that. It's a good read. Then we have Under the Red Hood. A new vigilante shows up called the Red Hood. But he's like Batman, except he doesn't have the no killing rule or no guns rule, and he wields those guns quite masterfully. read this one because the Red Hood's identity, unless you already know it, is pretty good. And then my last recommendation is the aforementioned Long Halloween, because it's a nice little detective story, as everybody loves Batman's detective work so much. I figured, hey, why not give you some of that? Also, the aforementioned Nightfall is pretty good, but I don't really recommend that one, simply because I don't like seeing Batman get defeated. Anyway, now we will move onward to the releases, because that's a thing that still happens. Alright, on July 14th we have AR-K, The Great Escape. That's a point-and-click adventure, and it's episode 3 of the ARK series, apparently. If you're into point-and-clicks, it's a pretty looker, but not my kind of cup of tea. And then we have Deception IV, or Roman numeral 4, The Nightmare Princess, for the PS4, PS3, and Vita on the 14th. That is an Animu game. That's also a strategy game, I believe. Yes. But it's very, very anime. The cover features 2 scantily clad women, so there's that. Then we have The Fall on PS4 for July 14th. That is a adventure game with puzzle solving, side-scroller. The art style is similar to the Swapper. It also looks like the aiming is probably going to be like the Swapper. It looks decent. I'll check it out. Then we have the God of War 3 Remaster for PS4 on July 14th. That's just the better looking God of War 3. If you haven't played God of War 3, pick this one up because I recommend it. Because God of War 3 is my favorite of the series. Then we have Godzilla for the PS4 and PS3 on the 14th. This is a monster fighter where you play as either Godzilla or many of his other characters from his universe, and you just fight. I mean, the fighting looks kind of basic, and it kind of looks like it'll be bad, but if you like watching monsters beat the shit out of each other, hey, why not? Depends on the price, too. If it's $60, I wouldn't drop that. Then we have Guild of Dungeoneering for the PC on the 14th. It appears to be like a D&D style game where you play cards and you progress through a dungeon. I mean, if you're into D&D, I would definitely check it out because it looks great. I believe it was also kickstarted, but I'm not. Maybe it wasn't kickstarted, I don't know. But it looks decent, I'd check it out. Then we have Guncraft, blocked and loaded on the 360 on the 14th. Guncraft is basically Minecraft with guns. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. If that interests you, maybe check it out. But I'm not touching that. Then we have Rory McIlroy PGA Tour for the Xbone PS4 on the 14th. It's a golfing game with Rory McIlroy's name on it now instead of Tiger Woods, because Tiger Woods is not doing so hot, and they don't want his name attached to their product. Then there's Trials Fusion Awesome Level Max expansion for the Xbone, PS4, and PC on the 14th. Basically, it's an expansion for Trials that allows you to be a cat with a gun riding a unicorn that breathes fire. That's Internet Meme the Game, apparently, or Internet Meme. Then we have The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, also on the 14th. I believe that is a first-person, quote-unquote, survival horror, but it's more like a walking simulator. Again, quote-unquote. You're exploring the vanishing of Ethan Carter. I'm probably going to get it because it interests me. Then we have Sorcerer King for the PC on the 16th of July. Sorcerer King is a 4X strategy game from the makers of Galactic Civilizations and Fallen Enchantress. It's a 4X game with a fantasy theme. Maybe check it out if you're into it. I'm not going to because I suck at 4X games. And finally we have Slash Dash for the Xbone on the 17th. Slash Dash is a local multiplayer fighter It's not like side-scrolling fighting, it's a top-down. And you play as ninjas and samurais. It looks like fun if you have a lot of friends, which I do not. Anywho, I believe that is it for the releases. As for what I've been up to, working, and more working and playing games. Still trying to hurry up and 100% Arkham get all the trophies, but the trophies are annoying, and I just really want that platinum. But if you've been listening this long, thank you very much. It's much appreciated because, God, I've wasted about 20 minutes of your life. And if you're here, that says a lot about your willpower. Thank you very much. There will be more videos to come. I'll try to get back on my weekly schedule. Thank you. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe. And I will see you next week.